According to Frankl, he believed that one component of well-being is based on a certain degree of tension between what one has already accomplished and what one has yet to achieve. So in other words, who you are today and who you hope to become tomorrow. So if you're worried or ever have those thoughts that somehow you're a failure because you haven't achieved all of your dreams quite yet, listen to me when I say this. You are not a failure. That tension is a really good thing. So embrace that drive that you have. Embrace your ambition and the gap between where you are and who you are today and where you want to go and who you want to become over the next year and 10 years and so on. So when it comes to making meaning in our lives, Frankl shares 3 simple avenues. The first avenue is creating work or doing a deed. In other words, having a project that you're working on that requires your skills and abilities. You know, one of the most powerful stories in the book for me was when Frankl arrived at Auschwitz and he had the manuscript for a book that he was working on and he had it in his coat pocket. And when he arrived, they confiscated it from him, just like everything else. And he was heartbroken. But what he did throughout his time there is he started looking for these little scraps of paper and he was collecting them so he could start recreating his manuscript, and that really helped keep him focused. And there was this other thing that he shared that I really related to. You know, while I have a stepson and I have a fur baby, I don't have any biological children. And he was talking about this book being his mental child, and having the ability to focus on that mental child and how important it was for him to nurture it and bring it to life and put that manuscript back together was really a key in helping him survive that experience. The second avenue, by experiencing something or someone. So in other words, experiencing beauty or truth or goodness or love, whether that's through nature or by loving someone else. You know, Frankl shares these moments throughout the book. For example, when he was being transferred from Auschwitz to a Bavarian camp by train, how he and everyone was in this crowded train and they were crowding around this tiny barred window just to catch a glimpse of the mountainside and the beautiful sunset. And in Frankl's own words, he said, "We were carried away by nature's beauty, which we had missed for so long." Or the other thing that really stood out to me in the book was how much Victor connected with his wife through his thoughts and his imagination, and how much his love for her kept him fueled and really kept him going. And there was one passage that I want to read which sums it up. He wrote, "Then I grasped the meaning of the greatest secret that human poetry and human thought and belief have to impart. The salvation of man is through love and in love. I understood how a man who has nothing left in this world still may know bliss, be it only for a brief moment, in the contemplation of his beloved." The third and final avenue is the attitude that we take towards unavoidable suffering. In other words, our human capacity to transform personal tragedy into triumph. And this is probably the biggest message that I took away from the book. You know, Victor discovered through surviving what is arguably one of the most horrific experiences you could ever imagine, that he was able to find meaning and growth and a deeper sense of who he was as a human being as a result. And there was one really incredible insight that he shared, which was this: in some way, suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning. We hear stories about this every day, right? I mean, where people face unimaginable challenges that could break them, but somehow they wind up growing stronger and more resilient and even more fulfilled as a result. So while there are many different schools of thought around meaning and fulfillment, I found Viktor Frankl's 3-part framework really speaks to my heart. One of the reasons that I love it so much is because I think many of us can get lost looking outside of ourselves for how to create a meaningful life. And what Viktor Frankl so beautifully teaches us is that each of those 3 avenues is completely within our control. So whether you're watching this over the holidays or any time of year, and you're feeling a little down or you're feeling a little empty, I want you to remember this. Because the truth is, you can feel fully alive in any situation, or you can feel like total crap in any situation. It's not the circumstances, it's actually what you bring to them. Once I really got this, I was so much happier. I was performing in my jobs better, and ironically, everything that I wanted to create in my future started happening a lot faster. Last year, I had a life-changing carb craving. Specifically, I wanted a croissant. And my first thought, I should walk around the corner to that cute little French bakery that I've been always meaning to try. It's one of those places that you probably have in your neighborhood where you walk by a million times, but for whatever reason, you never go in. So I walk over, and as I'm getting up to the door, I notice this little white piece of paper on the glass door, and it says this: closed due to vacation. Now, typically when I go to a store and it's closed, I'm usually like, wah, wah. But this time, I was actually like, OMG, closed due to vacation? It's a revelation! This is a party! There was no disappointment. In fact, it was super inspiring to me that someone could close down their entire business for an extended period of time just for vacation. So nobody died, they weren't going out of business, it wasn't renovation. Nope, they just wanted to take time off. So I got so excited by this idea that I forgot I even wanted a croissant. I ran home, called up my team, and I told them, we are closing down at the end of the year for 2 whole weeks. And we did it then, and guess what? We're doing again right now. We're closing down for the next 2 weeks. Now you gotta get, this was a pretty big move for me. Doing stuff nonstop is pretty much in my DNA. I mean, I've been working consistently since I was 10 years old. Yes, I've taken vacations, but this idea of completely closing down your entire company for an extended period of time, that's pretty radical, at least for me. I mean, I know they do that kind of stuff in Europe, but I'd never really seen it done here. And in this digital age, and since I run a digital company, I feel like there's this ever-growing pressure to always be on and always be responding and always be engaging and always be creating something new. But the truth is, from my point of view, this always on, always pushing, always going, it's really a sickness. And over time, it can destroy you. It can destroy your health and your creativity and your relationships and everything. And I mean, when it comes to your team, it can burn them out and take them completely out. And the more experience I have in this world, the more I see that personally, my soul craves downtime. It craves playtime. It craves time completely just off the grid. Now, if you're anything like me and you're super passionate about what you do, even just the thought of taking significant time off can feel scary. I mean, after all, let's say you take yourself off the grid and all of a sudden everybody forgets about you, or you miss out on some huge opportunity, or goodness gracious, your competitors get ahead. No! But here's what I learned when we shut our whole company down for 2 weeks last year. It was the best thing we've ever done. Everybody, including myself, came back so refreshed and rejuvenated. And the entire team came back with new ideas to take the company to the next level. I'm telling you all of this because I want you to remember 2 important things. First up, great things happen when you unplug from technology and you plug into your real life. Now, as much as I love technology, and I really do love it, I have learned it is vital to take time to just let yourself be. Because if you're constantly listening to the noise of the world, it's impossible to hear the whispers of your soul. What's that? My soul just told me that's a tweetable. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, this sounds great, Marie, but I can't take 2 weeks off right now, or I can't take a whole week off, that's completely fine. But ask yourself, can you take 48 hours off, or maybe just 1 day? And number 2, the whole point of this episode is this. You get to write the rules in your business and your life. Question everything that you think you have to do. Really challenge those assumptions. Do you have to be on Twitter, especially if you don't like it? Do you have to work on Mondays? Do you even have to wear underwear? But seriously, do not undercut your ability to craft a business and a life that you truly love.